everyone. Order. I'm Judge Johnny, and I will be overseeing the case of BLINK-182 versus the fans. Now, Mr. Rayner, you'll be representing the fandom, is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor, that's correct. We the fans feel that their new album 9, in fact, their 8th studio album titled 9, is an inflammatory pile of lies. We demand to be heard.
What exactly are you alleging?
I start my case with this. Your Honor, they went on tour with Lil Wayne. Lil Wayne, are you kidding me? Rap and rock do not mix, and I can say that without ever having heard more than one rap song, Your Honor.
Club. Oh, excuse me. Sorry, I got carried away. Huge Lil Wayne fan. Carry on, though.
You know what? Let's just actually drop that one. But the album cover, though. The album art for 9 is an unbearable sight upon the eyes. It's a total eyesore and strain to the millions of fans. I'm proposing a dividend be paid out to the millions that were affected by this awful sight. And not only that, Your Honor, the music video for Darkside.
What exactly is the nature of the video you're speaking of?
Pure, unspeakable cringe, Your Honor. If this is played in 5 years' time, I can guarantee that the cringe will indeed be too strong.
Now let me review the facts here. So, you're not pleased with the art direction relating to the album, you're not happy with the direction that the band are taking their music in, and you've essentially admitted to being melodramatic just for the sake of making a point. Now, have the fans that you're representing, Mr. Rayner, considered the fact that maybe they could just carry on with their lives and not listen to the album if they're so mad about it?
Your Honor, I demand a retrial. This is complete and total bullcrap. How dare you insinuate that we should listen to the entire record before forming our opinions? I've been listening to Blink-182 since 1994, and I can guarantee, Your Honor, that you don't know the first thing about punk rock. You don't know Blink-182, I know Blink-182, and I know what is best for them. So you listen to me, you sit down, I will see you again in court soon.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to ARTV. My name is John, and it's time for a review of the 8th studio album by the pop punk and alternative rock band Blink-182 titled 9? I felt like my hands were tied going into this record, being a massive Blink-182 fan, but also not caring about the singles that I heard from the release all that much. My expectations were sinking lower and lower. Blame It On My Youth was the lead single, and it felt like a cross between the Chainsmokers, Blink-182, and 5 Seconds of Summer, which isn't exactly the best compliment to be giving a band that takes influence from punk rock. Obviously, they've changed up their style before, and it's played out to much better fashion. I would say Neighborhoods and the Untitled record are both great examples of that, and I'm so pleased to hear that this record is not what the singles were alluding to. 9 to me feels like an updated version of the Untitled record, which is something that they teased and then kind of pulled back, like, oh, the songs aren't gonna be dark, except maybe they were kind of trolling us intentionally. The whole album rollout was just a mess, but at this point, I have to feel like that was kind of the master plan. It seemed like they were riling up fans over and over again, and I myself included took the bait. Blink have put together a mesmerizingly cohesive record that is both illuminating, catchy, but also more thoughtful than I would have ever expected in the lyrical department. Travis Barker's drumming on this record is truly unreal. It's almost like giving me chills just thinking about the fact that he transcended himself and he broke out of not only the punk genre, because there is punk-influenced drumming here, but he's able to take electronics and drum programming and he makes it feel natural to Blink's current sound. I was so scared when Blink were touting the fact that, oh, I'm happy that Blink is going to be relevant in 2019, and I'm like, what does that mean? You're going to be making a bunch of top 40 songs? No, not the case at all. Shredding steady guitars definitely play out in more ways than most listeners probably would have anticipated on 9. This is a record that makes use of them in a very good way on every single track. And it's crazy when you think about it that Blame It On My Youth is easily the worst song on the album, and it's not even that bad. Matt Skiba You, sir, you God, you have come into your own in Blink-182. You are flourishing with all of the true colors. Is that why the album cover looks like a unicorn farted? Because it's just Matt Skiba getting his wings. Matt is finally being utilized by Blink in a proper way. You can tell that they let him lead some of the creative decisions here, and the results are explosive. Some of these tracks like No Heart to Speak Of, the chorus of Darkside, even Runaway, I feel that his vocals are both captivating but also haunting in places. They truly tug at the emotional chords, and that was another surprising element that I didn't see coming to this record. It has a major heart, and it bleeds. There's darkness, there's depression, there's a lot of tense anxiety, but there's also happy times to balance it out. I like that the album starts off a little bit more positive with some hopeful tracks like The First Time and Happy Days. Even parts of Heaven feel optimistic. But then it takes us on this dark train ride through a tunnel where you can't really see the light, but it eventually kind of comes out on the other side. I'll say it again, the way that these songs are written is just stellar. It puts California to shame. I mean, it should be ashamed of itself for all of the na-na-nas, the wah-ohs, because in comparison, this feels like it was actually written by some humans that were trying to give more of a human element, and that's surprising considering John Feldman did produce and help write a good majority of the tracks on 9, but some of the other people like Tim Pagnotta of Sugar Cult fame that worked on this record, I do feel that their creative input really helped push Blink forward. The First Time welcomes us with open arms as it opens up the album feeling like the embrace of an old friend, a stranger that you're just not seeing for a long period of time, and then they suddenly come back to town. It's an awesome feeling. The guitars provide this racing sensation. It feels like it's got the classic Blink riffs and also the bass on this one, the traded vocals. It's short, sweet, and provides the perfect punch to get this party started. When Happy Days was released as a single, I was feeling a bit torn on it because it felt like very standard, safe Blink-182 and very typical Mark Hoppus, and with him leading the entire track, I was just like, great, they're gonna underutilize Matt. But in the context of the record, now that my fears have been put to rest, I feel that this track pops off a little bit more. I don't know, the vocals are good, it's solid, it makes me feel good, and there's nothing wrong with that. And the guitars are very catchy, there's a nice melody, even though it feels a little bit too familiar. Track number 3, Heaven, does a great job at really just opening itself up and presenting an atmosphere. It feels like a very dark night. We're looking through the window at the narrator's life, and the verses are definitely a little bit more subdued intentionally. There's some keys twinkling in the background, the drums are a little bit lighter, and then the chorus here. Angel wings at the bus stop, halos left on top of the bar. Mark Hoppus slays this chorus, and it knocked me off my seat pretty much the first time I heard it. It was the point in the record, the first time that I was listening through, that I realized I was loving this album's sound. Since I limit the amount of singles I allow myself to hear before an album drops, I didn't hear Darkside, but now it's turned into one of my favorites. This is a great Blink-182 song. It starts off with Skiba's vocals right away. It feels urgent, and I love that sense of urgency. The drums on this track are definitely different, but in a very good way, and also the chorus, while it might get very repetitive, it again provides a call to action. It feels anthemic. You've pretty much already caught my thoughts on Blame It On My Youth, but that paired together with Generational Divide, that quick little 50-second burst of energy, that coming right after Blame It On My Youth in this album's track list, it's an intentional middle finger, and I see it so clearly now. They made Blame It On My Youth. It feels like kind of a top 40 summer song. I don't mind it at this point. It's catchy. It does have some nice solid guitars in the mix that are very audible in the mix during the chorus, and I love the ending of the track when the vocals kind of hit a new climax. But right after their pop song on the album, they move into Generational Divide, which is so punk I almost can't stand it in the best way possible, but it's also totally sticking the middle finger and saying, hey, is this what you wanted? Are we better now that we're playing punk rock? Runaway feels a little bit more like a dipping point in the quality of the record, although it's not a bad song. Skiba again provides some urgency to the vocals. He really sells you on it, so I still enjoy the track. It's just that it feels a little bit too safe, especially lyrically. I just don't feel that the music was all that innovative here, and much of the rest of the record does showcase that. Wow, Black Rain though. This song feels like it should be in the Tron Legacy soundtrack. I mean, it's got those racing guitars and almost like some sort of synthesizer or something in the mix, and also the fast-paced, electrifying, life-affirming drums on this cut. it just pours it into you and it doesn't stop. Skiba bodied this track, and he continues to provide reasons as to why you should come back to this record. I really wish I Hated You takes things in a different direction right after that, and I know that some people are gonna be a bit wary of the poppier waters that they stir, but I for one am just gonna raise my hand and say that I'm loving this song. I'll take my punishment now if that makes me a fake fan, but this song is just... It's earwormy, obviously, but also I love the nostalgic feeling, also a melancholic appeal that it has. Koppisch kills me when he sings right before the chorus, which again is very catchy, although it's very repetitive, but right before that we get the I drive past your house, but I forgot you don't live there anymore. I don't know why, but that just feels earth-shattering to me. I've been there. The most Blink-182 song that you're going to get on this entire record is Pin the Grenade, and wow, this song is a rocket launcher, a grenade as it would entail. It doesn't lie there. The chorus does not stop slapping, and also the verses that lead up to it. It's just pure sing-along nostalgic bliss, but also not a retread of their past works. And then the bass breakdown on the bridge of this tune? Oh, fans are gonna go nuts for this one. Please play it live, Blink. Matt Skiba proves once again why he's worth keeping in the band. No heart to speak of is just a dagger to the stomach. This is one of those moments where you feel a little bit gutted because, again, he does such a great job at presenting and setting up the chorus, and then he just comes through with such a clarity, and also the shout, the little yell before the end of this track. It's something that this album needed. It's a little pick-me-up, and it works incredibly well. This album does feel a little bit more polished overall, as do some of these tracks like No Heart to Speak Of. I enjoy the programming that kicks it off, but overall, the slick feeling, it doesn't distract from how good the actual songs are. Along with Generational Divide and Pin the Grenade, I would also say that fans of older Blink are probably gonna love Ransom. They're not gonna dig the auto-tune that starts off on Mark Koppisch's voice at first, but then it kicks in with those lightning quick drums, and then the say the word and I'll be there. It's just too much fun, man. I had so much fun with this track, and it's actually pretty smart with the way that the story takes place in like a minute. On Some Emo Shit pops up next, and let's admit it, that's a great title for a song. I love it. I love the overall more electronic dip sound that they present on this one, but also the drumming kind of transforms from electronic to faster paced, more rapid, and they never just stay in one lane for an entire song. It doesn't feel like there's always something progressing, whether it be the catchiness or the overall melody. The appeal of the song doesn't quit, and On Some Emo Shit, the chorus and that key change during the chorus by Skiba, again, job well done. As we inch our way closer to the end of this record, our bar crawl stops at Hungover You, which isn't one of the strongest tracks on the album. The chorus is hooky, it's irresistible in some ways, but I do feel that it's a little bit more bland and limited in terms of songwriting. The pick me up, or else should I say the put me down, is the album closer, Remember to Forget Me. And this feels like more than just the dark tone or the dark atmosphere. It genuinely feels depressing. Mark Koppisch has been open about his struggle with depression and anxiety, and finally we get a song that feels worthy of representing that, the many fears and losses that he has had in his own life, and it feels applicable to a lot of different scenarios. I don't at all mind the kind of clicking trap rhythm that this has in the background. It picks up as the song goes on. It starts off with that looping acoustic guitar, and then it brings in more and more and more, and by the end, you're riding out this emotional climax right there with them, and I couldn't think of a better way to close out 9. Don't get me wrong, I love the pop punk stuff, but I also am a huge Untitled and Neighborhoods fan, so this kind of feels like a continuation of that instead of a retread in the form of California. This album's fantastic. Instead of hating this like I thought I would, I have one of my favorite albums of the year, one of the best albums, easily a 4.5 out of 5 from me. I am genuinely very curious to know what everyone else is thinking of the album, so sound off your thoughts down below. Don't forget to drop a like on this review, and keep in mind that it's all just my opinion. If you want to see another Blink-182 video, then tap here, or tap here for another recent review on the channel. Support on Patreon at the top link down below, or else the annotation in the corner, and I'll see you soon for more right here on ARTV.